right. Hey, we're back. We're here. Hi, welcome to Dads in the Pod. In a moment, you'll see Tom Booth. I almost forgot your last name. I'm sorry.
It's
Tom
boss
Booth.
right
You sure
there.
you haven't been drinking yet?
In my phone, I have you as Tomas the Boss still from,
Tomas the Boss,
from when
I
we
love
first
it.
met.
You know, it's okay. It's my first time meeting him too anyway, so
He goes,
welcome to the show, man.
Well, it's better than Pinche Güero. Okay?
Pinche Bueno. I don't know how that's going to come up again at some point.
That's my field name.
Well-versed, well-trained.
Yeah. So one thing I forgot to mention is like this is not technically an interview. It's just us talking. So if there's anything you want to talk about, any
Oh,
subject,
yeah.
I love
you
it.
can
weigh in,
start if you want.
All right. Well, we'll start off with just the fact that I thank you for having me here, man. I know
Yeah.
I've known Miguel for a while. He was one of my top 5 patrons at Wine Boss when I first started out, and I'm happy what you're doing here. This is an amazing setup. And how's everything going at the Park Cinemas? I've been really curious about how the movie theater industry has been, especially kind of now that I'm hopefully, knock on wood, on this upswing of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Has it been over there at the cinemas?
I think as far as nationally, the numbers are good, and then, but for us, I tend to keep in mind, we're a little bit different of a as far as that demographic. We're doing about, 50% as what we used to do from 3 years ago. It's
Right.
weird to say 3 years ago because 2 years ago was the start of the pandemic.
Everything feels like it was
I know,
3 years ago.
I'm still 29 years old. I'm not gonna say I'm 32. And
I still think Mario 64 came out 10 years ago.
Don't even, we'll get started with it. We'll talk about that. No, but but the thing that really kind of warms my heart most, without looking at numbers, is the community has really backed us up since the whole pandemic, which is insane.
Yeah, and Paso's like that, right?
Yeah.
It's always
Right.
been a feed the table.
I was so just going with the groove, new movie Fridays, no pandemic around. So it was more of it was really normal just to, day in, day out, day in. And then all of a sudden pandemic happened. And then I did start to notice the regulars are a little bit more regular. The people who I've seen, we're a tourist town, so we're seeing other people and
Yeah.
they're they'll bring it up hey, are you guys doing okay? And God, it feels so good to hear that.
That's nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for checking in.
Thanks for checking in. And I start spilling my guts. Well, actually,
right.
No,
You guys
but-
were selling popcorn there just to make
Just popcorn.
make something, right?
Yeah.
Pay PG&E for that matter. I
yeah,
guess.
just popcorn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how funny is that? And yeah, well, I'm so happy. I can't wait to go to my first movie. I haven't been to a movie yet. Can you guys believe that?
No, I can't believe that.
Yeah, I'm really.
Oh, in
disturbed.
Paso in general?
I was
Or just in.
I was a movie theater. I loved the movie theaters.
Yeah.
That was my meditation. That was my everything. I just loved being at the cinema.
Mm.
And I just, I don't know. I just haven't made it. Maybe it's also the kind of the quality of the pictures that came out. I was kind of but I'm a huge Dune fan, gigantic, and I didn't even go to see that.
Oh, really? That was a
Yeah.
while ago.
I know. And and I was putting off. One of my best friends. We actually grew up reading the books together. My buddy Rio, and we kept putting it off to the point where okay, it's not playing IMAX anymore. So I guess we'll just see it regularly. And then it wasn't playing regularly anymore. And so we're like, damn it! I guess we'll catch it on HBO Max now. But that kind of sucks. So
yeah.
I might have to get the Blu-ray and come to Park Cinemas
And just rent
Rent out a theater.
Rent
Yeah,
the
we're
theater.
still kind of doing that too.
Are you?
Yeah. Obviously not Batman weekend, but definitely on a slower week.
How's that going? That came out Friday, right?
Yeah, it came out Friday. Friday was busy in the evening, and then obviously it spreads out a little bit more on Saturday and Sunday. But the interesting thing is it's 3 hours long.
Oh,
Yeah, so I heard.
It's 2 hours and 55,
Yeah.
not including the trailers. So it literally
Jeez.
breaks 3 hours.
Well, they put enough villains in there. I saw that Penguin's in it too. Is that
Penguins in it,
the Riddler too, right?
the Falcone characters in it.
okay?
you know.
Hopefully, we're not giving too much away. But yeah, I heard Colin Farrell knocked it out of the park.
He's unrecognizable.
Really?
It's insane.
Wow. Yeah.
I think he was the best villain out of all the villains that were in there.
Yeah, and I was hemming and hawing about seeing the Twilight guy as Bruce Wayne.
Oh,
but
Pattinson.
Is that
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, it was good as dang name.
Pattinson.
Apparently, speaking of Twilight, apparently, what's his name is always up here going to Dow or whatever. The guy that played the werewolf.
Oh, Taylor Lautner.
Yeah, apparently he got
Jinx.
engaged at Dow, and like, of course, their social media was all over it. But
He came up and proposed to like his now fiance or something like that.
something like that.
Yeah, and why do I know this? Because social media was all over it.
Oh yeah.
Man, Shark
Any
Boy
little-
was actually here then, huh?
Shark Boy was
Shark
here.
Boy was
yeah.
here.
Shark Boy was.
Yeah.
He
Well,
did
he
Shark
played
Boy
Shark
and-
Boy.
Yeah, Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Oh,
a movie
well,
back in the day.
Yeah.
Never watched it, but you know.
Shows
I
you
didn't
how much
either.
I know about this guy.
No, I think Paso. We're right in the middle of
Which
like
guy didn't get dragged in to watch the Twilight movies?
I don't know. That's a good question.
All right, because
which one?
Twilight
Oh,
movies.
I volunteered, dude.
You volunteered. Yeah.
Did you?
Team Jacob.
See, Jacob.
I was I was one of those few guys that was like reading the book outside before I watched the movie, kind of thing. Outside the theater, by the way, like sitting at the steps.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
You know?
yeah, that
I was
worked.
into it. I skipped Blue Moon though because that was just a weird, long.
Was it really
boring
called
book.
Blue Moon?
Or New Moon? Sorry.
Yeah, you're thinking beer.
I'm thinking beer.
Yeah, Blue.
Blue Moon, you saw me standing alone. Anyway, a lot of references with Blue Moon.
Oh man.
But who else comes through Pass? So I know, gosh darn
Oh.
it, so many people. Brolin's always here.
Josh, dude, I
He
saw him
had
walk. I had an interaction with him at the theater. He went to go watch 3 Billboards in Bagging, Missouri, whatever.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah, you remember that,
and-
didn't
and
you?
I hope he remembers because I told him, like, we don't take American Express here, homie. And I didn't say the
Oh, you
homie
didn't say the
part. But I thought it, And I told him, it's like, I'm sorry, we don't take. He just kind of chuckled and gave me a Visa card instead or something like that. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I told everybody, like, hey, Josh Brolin's here. He's watching in theater 4, blah, blah. And then
that
I
was
saw him 2 weeks ago. He was walking around with his, like, 2-3-year-old kid or something like that. He's a regular guy. He
Well,
just,
I mean,
he had a hat on. He just window shopping. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure he Thanos snapped anybody who remembers him.
Well, he was
Yeah.
also from, what was it? Gosh
Cable,
darn it.
Deadpool.
Yeah, Cable.
Oh, he was Cable, yeah.
Deadpool.
Like, how lucky are you to play
Oh, he was
Cable
Jonah
and
Hex, too.
Thanos And, like, yeah,
Yeah.
right? You're just
Yeah.
like, okay.
People forgot about Jonah Hex.
Every badass that's known in comic books, he's playing.
Yeah, the Cable one was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
good. It was good. But yeah, I guess he was born and raised here.
Templeton, I think it
Is
was.
that what it was?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I heard he's on a sober kick. So much for me crossing my fingers that he comes in a wine boss.
He might not come back to Park Cinemas because we're almost done with our beer and wine bar.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
I thought. Oh.
Yeah, it's already built and everything.
I thought you meant like done, like it's done. But you're
Oh no,
almost,
you're almost.
as in-
Yeah, we just got. Well, I just got. No, we're almost. So we need a couple more things. We need.
But you have the license coming and it's
Yeah,
about to
license.
launch.
Yeah, and then we just took RBS training, so we had to get take the test and get certified
Yeah,
finally,
it's all
and
required now.
then by the end of it started being enforced in like July or something.
Yeah,
Something like that.
I gotta get that shit too.
Oh, you.
Right, you serve alcohol, you gotta get it. man.
That's funny. Yeah, everywhere. But the trainer was like, "Dude, you guys are your guys' restrictions are so weird." I was like, "Oh, thanks. That makes me so much better." I've never worked in a wine and beer bar,
Right.
so I'm like, I'm already anxious. He goes, "Yeah, you guys are really different."
Yeah. Well,
So everything you're
that,
teaching us is
that helps. Yeah.
altered a little bit.
So about you, Walter, how you been navigating through the pandemic and post pandemic, I guess. Hopefully again, knock on wood.
You know, I have a night shift, so a lot of the time, even during the day, it's just me staying at home with kids.
Right.
So there hasn't really been much change for me. It's funny because people are like, "Oh, we can't go outside." I'm like, "Oh yeah, we can't go outside." I haven't been doing that for a while now.
Where's your night shift at?
I work at Scientific Drilling.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. It sounds fancy, but it's not. Trust me. I mean,
It's scientific.
yeah. What I was saying, I could literally just
And
be
it's
like,
drilling.
like when somebody like doesn't want to say they're a janitor, they just say, "Oh, I'm a custodian,"
Right,
or
right,
or
right.
Or some longer word.
yeah, like
Custodial arts.
maintenance technician.
Yeah.
You know?
I clean shit.
I feel like I could say something like that, but no, I mean it's cool. I've been there for
Not putting down custodians, by the way.
no, not at all.
No, we love
I've
you
been there
guys.
for 11 years. So at the night shift, it'll be 5 years this summer that I've been doing the night shift. So
That's awesome, man.
yeah, no, I've been there for a while. That's where I met my wife. So that was pretty cool.
Talk about Twilight. How do you get used to that type of sleep regimen?
Oh, man. So actually, it was funny because right before you came, I was telling Miguel how when our son was born, I'd only get about 3 hours sleep a night. because he was just always, he's always been a terrible sleeper, and even till now, like he's gotten better,
Right.
but it's been like it's been a thing with him. And I would come home. I was at that time I was working 10-hour days, so I was doing overtime. I'd come home, and at that time I lived at Heritage, so it was like about a 20-minute drive home.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then just to get into town, because my oldest also has to go to school, so sometimes I had to like get up and take him. But my wife would wake up in the morning to get ready for work. So that'd be like about 4 or 5 in the morning. She'd get ready for work. And our son, just as soon as she was up, he was up. And he wouldn't go back to bed.
Yeah.
So I had to be up also at 5 and be with the baby that doesn't want to sleep. And it's gotten better since they gotten older, but you know, it was a part of that. I mean, it's better now. Like I said, they're a little more self-sustainable. They can grab their own cereal now.
And that's why the show is called Two Dads in the Pod.
Yeah, Two Dads in the Pod.
Hey, now you're getting it.
Well, hats off to you, gentlemen, because I'm basically uncle dad to my niece, but I have all the benefits that a dad gets, but I'm up here. She's in Los Angeles, but because I work in Los Angeles every week, I get to see her. Not to get too personal, but she's basically being raised by my mother right now because let's just say that sister's finding her way, and baby daddy is adios. But so it's been kind of nice to fill that paternal void. And of course, my other sister's boyfriend has been too. So it's been kind of cool. We've both been kind of at practice with this. But nowhere near where you guys are going to. So I respect it.
Have you wanted to have your own kids? Have you ever thought of that?
Absolutely. You know, it's just I do. You know, I have a wonderful girlfriend, and she actually has a son herself, and so it's been interesting just being around that too, and kind of like that's another like kind of shoe to fill.
How old is he?
He's turning 3 very soon. So you know, obviously between the niece and him, and you know, being around my friends' kids, like it's obviously definitely something I want to do. It's a little scary thinking about having a kid of my own, just because, you know, not because I couldn't do it or handle it. I would love it. Yeah. You know, just with everything, you know, happening on the news right now. And of course, after getting through this and running a business, etc., and then we got this thing in Ukraine right now, and it's just, it
feels like the older we get, the more the world is going crazy, right?
Right.
Well, I think the world's always been crazy.
It's always been crazy.
We're just now old enough to let it.
And we have social media.
Yeah, social media also is another big thing.
It's always been crazy, right? It's always been it's been a brutal world out there, you know.
I mean, it has. I mean, you think how old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay, so you're my age, basically. Yeah, our age, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Desert Storm was when we were babies. Right. The 90s. Exactly. Right? You know, that was always, all that stuff was going around. It's just that we just weren't.
Well, we were watching WB at 5 o'ck in the morning instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. We were watching Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. So, the only time I actually saw the news that early in the morning was 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
that was the only time I remember the news.
I agree. That was the first time that the world news was like a thing that we were starting to get involved with. At least me personally.
I remember that day so vividly. I mean, who doesn't, right? I mean, you knew where you were when you found the news, and I had first period gym. I think I was 6th or 7th grade, and my buddy. One of my best friends to this day, the Dune buddy, Rio, he told me, right while we're getting dressed, he's like, "Did you hear what happened and only one of the towers had gone down yet." And so,
and then you saw the other one.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We remember the whole thing, and like everything was canceled. It was like, everyone was just like, okay, we're not having gym today.
There was no school going on that day. I remember like every classroom that we went to, from period to period, that we would switch to, like the TV was on, and teachers, we were all literally watching it.
Every teacher had their own script about it. You know, which was great. I think it was so great for teachers to kind of explain to us like what was happening, because it was terrible. And to be honest, I didn't even see the actual footage until like lunchtime. I went to the library and I saw it. Immediately just melted down. I was like, I couldn't believe,
right.
It's anyway, but so to know that this still is happening on a scale, in other countries, it's so sad. But I don't know. We'll see. world peace, man.
Yeah, definitely.
It makes you wonder what like another 50 years from now is going to look like, or 40 years from now it's going to look like.
That's
you know,
and Albert Einstein, he said something about like he's worried about how he made kind of a premonition quote about, will we be able to keep up with technology and everything that's going on? Like, well, yeah, we're like a super smart species, and we're coming out ways of doing things much faster and quicker and more just keeping up with it. Will we be able to keep up with it, like morally and mentally and intellectually, and still take care of each other globally? You know, I think that's a scary thought.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you have, I hate to say it, but Putin's a damn sociopath. So if you put this stuff in his hands, it gets scary.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting, like you mentioned, like if we can keep up emotionally and stuff like that. It's interesting because, I mean, when like Michael Jackson passed away, when all these like, you know, big stars like passing away and stuff like that, they're like they're around on the news itself for like maybe a month, and after that it's on to the next thing. Like as a society, we're like moving way too quickly, in my opinion, as far as like when news come and emotionally attached and stuff like that. Because there's times where I'm scrolling through Facebook, and for some reason randomly the algorithm is starting to give me like 9/11 footage.
Right.
You know why? I don't know. Maybe preparing us for
Because
emotional stuff going on.
I'll say, what did it happen to be September 11th that day? You looked into it and you just forgot.
You know, possibly. It was late night, September 10th.
See, there you go. Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, but like it makes you wonder, like you know, algorithms and stuff like that, what they're making us feel and do. Because I was talking to one of the employees yesterday at work, and he was talking about how like Pixar has a really good way to pulling on your heartstrings.
Oh my god.
They'll use a song specifically for a happy scene, and then later on use the same song for a sad scene.
Up was
and
the one that did it for me.
God,
Up was the first one that did it for me.
Yeah, and Up was interesting, right? Because I was in the theater. I was like, why are kids watching this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
know?
But then you look back at all the Pixar movies, it's like they all do something similar.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Finding Nemo, yeah.
Finding Nemo.
I just watched
God.
it the other day again.
His whole family gets murdered except his dad, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, no, they
brutal
find,
if you think about it.
I mean, Up really found a way to kick you in the nuts early on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, and then they kept doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the movie. I just, at that part of it turned me off, because if I had kids, I had taken them to see it. You know?
Yeah.
Aside from the dog was cute.
Yeah.
But it was just like, geez,
Squirrel.
I'm going to get so many questions asked after this. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, I mean, I think that.
Can dogs really talk? Oh, God damn it.
it was like it was like
Can
a
you-
Pixar about Schmidt, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, they might be doing that stuff so you can have conversations with your kids, and I mean, it's subjective, right?
I could see that.
There was,
it might create more conversation between a parent and their child when they do see something like that.
there was
you
a
know?
movie called Paranorman. I don't know if you guys know
love
that.
that.
I
love
haven't
that.
seen that movie, but
Was
yeah.
it-
So good.
I want to say it was that movie, but I guess one of the bullies or like the bigger guys was very feminine at one point in the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And a mom came out and says, "I'm gonna have to explain to my kid what that was about," and got mad at us. And I'm like,
we didn't make the
what?
fucking movie.
Because when I watched the movie, I didn't register like, oh, he's being too feminine. Like I just watched it straight through. All this was funny, blah blah blah, you know. And then that was the end of it for me. But like the parent, like
She like threw a fit, huh?
not as much of a fit, but just like pointed it out to us. Like, I'm gonna have to talk to my kid about this. By the way, I'm like, oh okay.
Well, you chose to bring them to that movie.
That's like kind of Karen-esque, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Mom,
know.
why is he being so feminine? And why do I relate to that? Oh no,
Oh,
you're
the-
not him.
I mean, is it so small-minded that you have to whine about having to explain something like that?
Yeah.
Probably gonna offend some people with that remark.
probably.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very conservative,
Yeah, there's-
way to be thinking about it. Like if you can't expand,
Yeah.
for whatever reasons.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I mean,
what if the child identifies with that?
Yeah.
Like
And that-
character?
and
Or
that's-
what if her husband identifies with that and she got mad at that,
Yeah, right.
you know?
but I mean,
she's
I think
living a lie.
That's the great thing. That's the great thing about media is
Yeah.
that it is trying to expand and
Right.
broaden, the things,
Yeah.
like make more people be identifiable. Because what's funny is watching older movies or shows,
Yeah.
and then you're being like, oh wow, they can't do that anymore nowadays. Like you'll hear I was watching like George Lopez show one of the other days, and he did like just like a fat joke, and I'd be like, ooh, and
Yeah.
even I'm just like, ooh, that would.
Do you guys remember the movie Money Talks?
Oh yeah, Charlie Sheen.
Uh-huh.
With Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
It was
Chris Tucker.
PG-13.
So
not have been?
So the ratings.
I watched it again not too long ago, and I'm like, this is shit. Definitely shit. I mean, the cursing, the drugs,
The nudity.
there's no nudity,
See,
so I
that's
guess
why.
we're
That's
in the
why.
clear.
That's why
We're
there
in the
wasn't
clear. There was
but
no penis or.
Well, you probably know.
That's what you
Isn't-
went with.
Yeah, this is Game of Thrones, all right? I've seen enough wieners in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
to last
I mean,
my
that
half
first
century.
episode, it
I'm
was
really glad I
it
didn't
was
see that
sibling
one.
on sibling on that first episode. Come on,
I'm
It's
sorry.
like-
South Park had one of the best.
so I kept watching.
South Park had one of the best things about the wieners on Game of Thrones.
I
That-
saw that episode.
did you see that
So
episode
good.
when Butters couldn't stop talking about
couldn't
the
stop, yeah.
wieners, and then they're like, Butters, you just completely missed the whole point of that whole
Which
show.
episode with this? So I can look it up later.
Oh, the
Just look at
South
Game
Park.
of
Oh, okay.
Thrones,
Yeah.
South Park, yeah. But, what was I going to say? But talk about just the genius of a show, South Park.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Talk about zero fucks given. I mean,
Oh
They
my
do.
God,
And it's
dude.
no matter what point, I mean, what stand you are,
right?
and like politically anything, they're just gonna attack everything.
Yeah, they're
And
gonna.
I think that's the genius thing
I-
about it,
and I-
because
I think if you like, if they see people like hating on them, they'll actually use that as fuel to keep
they
going.
do.
Oh, yeah,
As a
yeah.
matter of fact, I've seen interviews where they both said, they have an escape plan. They said if at any point they get canceled or the mob comes after them, they have a plan to just go somewhere in like Denver or something. They have a place, and that they're okay with it.
Yeah, I mean,
And I mean, you piss somebody off, but it's also like, well, why are you pissing them off, or why are they getting pissed off? And that's what those shows kind of like bring the question is, well, why are they getting mad?
yeah.
And it's because they bring out so many uncomfortable situations. They try and make it funny. Some of it, seems a little more like they're pointing fingers, but they somehow find a way to just like bring it back around and like point fingers back at somebody else.
You,
So
you
like,
guys remember the South Park movie, right? Blame Canada. They were pointing fingers at Canada
Oh,
for
yeah.
some reason. Their kid was acting up or something.
well, yeah, because and that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
because similar to your thing about Paranorman,
Yeah,
it was a movie made their kids start cursing a lot
yeah.
and doing all this stuff.
Oh, yeah, I
lit,
remember.
Kenny lit
Yeah.
himself on fire because he farted on it, and then he combusted, and they were blaming it
Yeah.
on
Canada.
Canada. But how did the kids get in there?
Oh yeah,
Right?
it's the movie theater's fault.
It wasn't even. Yeah,
Bastards.
you can
Yeah.
you can start putting the
Check ID, mother.
you can start putting the blame on everybody else, but
Oh,
the
yeah.
fact that they still got in.
Yeah,
Right. They should have been the parents been a little more like hands on of making sure, can you be a parent that's on your kids 24/7 and make sure they're not going to get it?
I feel like it'd be so stressful.
It would be. You wouldn't
Well,
be able to do it. They're going to find a way.
Yeah.
If you make everything forbidden fruit, they're going to find a way to go get it.
That's true. I mean, my dad took me, and we were only 9 when that came out.
Yeah. We were.
And I don't think he knew what he was getting into. I don't think he quite understood what South
That was
Park
great.
was.
Oh.
He thought it was like a cartoon. Just
Well, yeah,
kinda-
that's it. Well, yeah, that's yeah.
And then we got like 15 minutes into it, and he looked at me and he's like, "You really should not be watching this, but
Yeah.
we're in here now." So.
Yeah,
He's like, I wasted money. I'm not pulling out.
Well, and he was strict. Both my parents were very strict about us cursing at all. Like we
Okay.
could.
Yeah.
I probably didn't curse in front of my mom for the first time until I was like 18.
I can win you better. That was like 21 for me, or 22.
And even then I still was awkward about it. But I tell you what, after watching that movie on the playground when parents weren't around, we were all calling each other Uncle
Yeah.
Fucker.
yeah. Shut your fucking face, motherfucker.
It's terrible. You're just so free on the playground. You're like, I can
Yeah.
say fuck shit, whatever I want.
So when I was at Lemoore until like 2016 of August, and I moved back because I guess they wanted me back, and at one of the first movies within like the month or two that I was there, Sausage Party.
Ooh.
Bro, you know how many dads and moms want to just drop off their kids, and I tell them like,
Seriously?
you do not.
No.
And that was one of the only times where we actually like to the word 17 must be, or under 17 must be accompanied by an adult, because people drop off their kids all the time.
Right.
Buy their tickets, drop them off, whatever. We try to make sure they're okay. A lot of the times the reason why we want the parent to be there is because the kids just like talk throughout the whole movie,
Right.
Yeah, they're being annoying.
especially in like other movies that aren't like necessarily bad, but they'll talk. I'm like, guys, this is like a sad part. Come on, like what the fuck. But no, this Sausage Party, I mean, it had an orgy scene of all the
Mhm.
food
Everything at the end. Yep.
mixing like a blender. You know,
Did you
it's
see that
just-
movie?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
It was-
Okay. Yeah. I saw a movie. I didn't care much for it.
I didn't care much for it either. It had
It was-
parts. and
it-
scenes
yeah.
No, it had
for
fart.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
I felt like I was like, I like Seth
But it was
Rogen stuff.
weird.
And yeah, and it
Yeah.
was just like, it's not even it just wasn't good. It wasn't as
Yeah,
funny as I
yeah.
thought it would
There-
be. You know.
There was a dad that goes, "There's worse things on the news." Well, I was trying to tell him why, and he goes, "I'm like, I'm sorry, I just
Alright,
can't.
that's
Like, I
fine.
don't like to my soul. I don't feel good. You guys leave him here."
Yeah.
But isn't it
No
funny
way.
how some people will figure out or will choose what to complain about? Like, you know, that dad said there's
Oh
worse
yeah,
things
there's
on the
worse
news,
things on
right?
the news,
But sometimes
yeah.
sexuality is like that. Like
Yeah.
that takes like first.
Well, that's always been kind of weird
Yeah.
with kind of America in general, right? Because
Yeah, yeah.
nudity and sexuality is kind of like much more acceptable in like European TV and whatnot, but violence isn't.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the
yeah.
reverse here. We're like we almost embrace violence and it's okay for our kids to see it, but they can't see nudity or talk about sexuality or something like that. So it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know if it's a dilemma, but it's an interesting dichotomy for sure between cultures, I guess.
Right. So since you have a stepchild, you know, or
Essentially-
yeah,
essentially
essentially
stepchild.
stepchild.
Congratulations,
no,
man!
sorry
about that.
Congratulations.
My bad. My bad. I just pulled.
Friend of the kid.
I just pulled a.
Let's see the ring.
I just
All right,
pulled.
I'm outta here. Later.
I'm sorry. All right, just full disclosure. I just pulled an old school Mexican thing that as soon as you're living with somebody, you're
Oh, yeah,
automatically
you're
married.
automatically
So my
step-
bad.
yeah.
All right,
Okay,
my bad.
okay.
My bad to everybody. Cultures clash.
Yeah,
all right?
it's
Speaking of culture, right?
Yeah,
it's
speaking
a
of
Mexican.
culture-
Speaking of thing, it's a Mexican.
It is a
thing.
I am sorry.
It's
All right.
okay. It's okay.
Mexican Tourette's just totally
I'll say
came out there.
I'll say
all
a
right.
rosary later and God bless you. 3 Hail Marys.
Oh my god! All right, or or just even thinking about kids in the future. If you have your own kids,
Right.
What would be something? What do you think would be something you're gonna like try to block out? Do you think it would just kind of come when it happens, or do you already kind of have those things where you're like, I don't know if I should let them watch that?
Well, I tell you what, I love my parents to death, and I'll take nothing back by how I was raised and some of the content I came across. But they were a little bit more on the naive side. I think a lot of our parents' generation
Yeah,
was.
they were. Yeah.
I think they just didn't really know what was going on or being seen on TV, etc. So I think I'll be a lot less naive,
Mhm.
and I hate that word. It's because it's a shitty word, but.
Yeah.
It is the truth. So I'm not going to shelter the kid, and I know they're going to hear it at school anyway.
Yeah,
some of this
yeah,
stuff.
that's the-
And, so it depends, but I'll certainly probably won't throw them into some content that I was thrown into by accident,
Right.
and be a little bit more careful with that.
Are we talking about porn? What are we talking about?
I mean,
Because
we all have our stories on that one.
I walked into my uncle's house and they were all huddled around the TV, and that VHS was going, and I'm like, "What's going on?" Sácate fuera.
Oh my god. Yeah.
No.
What?
Oh man, No, I went to the first time. I went to my friend's house and we had other mutual friends and I was the last one to arrive, and I remember they're all huddled around his computer.
Mm.
I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing? I'm internet. I'm like, oh,
Oh my god, dude! Some of the websites that were like around when we were like in middle school were ridiculous.
I'm sure they're worse now.
Probably.
I'm sure they're
Well,
no,
what's
I
the
don't
big
know.
one right now? OnlyFans, whatever, is like a big thing right now.
Pornhub.
Yeah, I got
Pornhub.
some roommates into that. That's so funny. I'm just like,
You
alright.
got some
I'm like,
roommates into that?
No,
Oh,
like
so it's
I
like-
have.
Are you like a pimp?
Excuse me. God damn it. We're gonna burn this evidence. and footage.
So that's where the boss came.
No, that's where the
Yes.
I left my hat with the feather in it at home, right? All
No.
my rings are all gone.
That's a popular app right now. I keep seeing it pop up. Haven't downloaded it or anything like that, but I'm like, I'm kind of curious. Like, if I start an OnlyFans like for dads, like, would that be okay?
I don't know.
I think you can pick and choose what you put
Yeah,
on there,
yeah.
but
Just the popular stuff is other things.
This is my roommate. I'm like, dude, you need a girlfriend. You're on that shit way too much. It's like, dude, come on.
That's funny.
But
oh,
I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, you got to be careful. Like, what's but luckily they have like bunch of, they have kids versions of YouTube now. So for instance, like
YouTube Kids.
Yeah, which is nice because you never know, even though you might have it like on a lullaby thread or whatever the hell it is.
Something usually slips.
Something pops up.
You might put on Baby Shark, and then some sick shark shit might come up that you don't want them to see.
Yeah.
So I think stuff like kids YouTube is good, and like they have that on Netflix too, right? And
Netflix, they have the child profiles now on all the streaming services.
Yeah.
I think it's smart. I know social media is trying to do it too. I think you got to be so freaking careful with that. And I didn't get a cell phone till maybe 10th grade, but I think that's going to be different for our kids because it's just, I don't know. I don't mind the idea of like a younger kid having a cell phone, but then you got to be extremely careful what they download and all that jazz. So I don't know.
So my daughter, my oldest, is 10.
Okay.
She's going on 11 this summer. Same with you. I didn't get a cell phone. Well, I didn't get a cell phone until I was in 9th grade. My birthday.
We gotta make this. Cell phones back then weren't as
it's a flip phone.
common. A flip phone.
Yeah, it was a flip phone.
Or a brick.
Or a brick. Yeah, And the cool thing was when you would download songs for your ringtones.
Mm-hmm.
But they were like cell phone version of those songs. So we'd be huddled around and be like, hey, what song is this? And then like it'd be like Splash Waterfalls by like Ludacris. I say that because I had that one. Right? And then it's a good song. And then people would be like,
your chain hang low, does it wobble?
Sure. But anyway, I still don't want her having a phone until she's a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
That's what I had. Social kids and social media. That's where my conservative point is there.
Yeah.
I know you love TikTok. I fucking hate TikTok.
Yeah.
Like it's just too. They're just, I don't know. And that's what scares me, is having like my daughter on Facebook or social media or any of that. And I know a lot of friends are doing it. And I know some friends who are like, I can have her account. Right. And I can be like checking it all the time, making sure she's not like trying to, but I mean, we were all kids once before, and our parents were kids once before. We find ways to get around it where we are probably ignorant about it until, it's scary, but the social media for me is where it gets kind of scary with the kids.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm just going to chip my kid. Know where she's at all the time.
Yeah, right.
You chip your dog, you chip your kid, right?
Yeah, no, to be honest, like, what is the point of, like, a child having a cell phone except to know where they are? But, but as long as you have them enrolled in programs and you know what they're doing.
That where they should be.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
hopefully in a good school that keeps track of their kids,
Yeah, and I was going to say something about screen time, but then I kind of bit my tongue because, like, I loved video games growing up.
Yeah.
Same here, man.
What's the difference? But I guess at least video games, and I actually wrote a paper on this in college, is I really do think that they help you develop cognitively.
Yeah. Oh, no, 100%. Yeah.
100%, right?
100%.
You're not going to develop cognitively looking at TikTok all day.
No.
So I'd rather have my kid playing video games.
Right.
There's a lot of games that kind of help with like solving problems.
Yeah.
So
big time. And there's a reward system too. Once you solve the problem, like, oh yeah, you get this gold trophy.
Even the shows you watched as a kid. I mean, think about it. Like when we first met, we talked a lot about Naruto.
Oh man, good times.
it's literally a underdog character who is always choosing the right from wrong, even though it feels wrong at times or whatever. Like you learn those things as a kid, and then I don't think I can learn that watching
Japanese anime.
Apples sing on the screen.
Yeah. Japanese anime had a real good thing about. Friendship. I mean, we saw Yu-Gi-Oh! In the heart of the cards. I don't know. Saving
Dragon Ball Z was my favorite.
Oh, dude,
so good.
That was my catalyst to anime.
That Spirit Bomb took way too many episodes though.
That Genki Dama, man, that's the Japanese lingo for that one.
Oh, there we go. No, but I see you're a man of good taste.
Oh yeah, totally. I loved Dragon Ball Z growing up. And, those Super Saiyan modes, man. Those are the best episodes.
I used to take a picture from like a magazine or something of Super Saiyan or something, put it on the window and put my own paper and then trace over it and then add an extra vein here and there.
No, but to your guys' point, it's great. Naruto as well. You wanted to like Dragon Ball Z. You wanted to be like Goku and like talk about a wholesome, moral character.
Yeah.
The typical hero. And I would love for like my kids to be around that. But we can all agree there's some anime there that's gnarly.
There's plenty of anime that's bad.
Tsunade.
I don't know. Hey, your parents walking at the wrong time.
Yeah. What's funny is like if anybody ever pointed out like that kind of specific thing or trying to like talk down about anime because of that specific thing, I'm like, do you remember how Disney started and their like little innuendos and
dude, Betty Boop.
Betty Boop.
That was I mean very very caricature of a person, but I mean come on, her proportions were a little.
Louis C.K. has a bit about like somebody sneaking in the drawing of a penis or something in Little Mermaid. It's like you tried drawing a toplet or a girl with a shell bikini without drawing in a penis at some point. Come on,
serious?
for 4 hours straight.
That's so true. God, talk about a guy that he really pushed the limits. I know he's like sort of canceled, but I think he's doing a European tour right now.
Yeah, he's still around. I loved his material. I still listen to it to this day. Yeah. I think
he's funny, man.
Yeah, I think a lot of comedians are like on a similar boat, They either got canceled already or like they're attempting to cancel them for some crazy reason. Something they said about
something 10 they said 30 years ago. Yeah. That to me, that's one thing that I don't really care about. It's, we all grow up.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a certain point, especially if you start out. I mean, some comedians start out when they're like 18.
Yep.
Performing dive bars and all that stuff. When are they not allowed to grow?
No, it's true. Even I remember Kevin Hart was supposed to host the Oscars, and he got dinged for something he said that was
about his kid
labeled as homophobic.
Oh yeah. See, how many times have we said stuff?
And I remember that routine, and
I remember that.
I was laughing my ass off.
Is that the one he was eating chicken and like his little boy was some little boy was grinding on him?
The kids were dancing, and he's like, "Don't do that."
That's gay. Yeah.
So, I don't know. That to me, of course I could see it being offensive, but that's comedy though. Comedy's offensive.
yeah, pretty much. You know what I always feel like should be in cancel culture? I'm gonna step on my soapbox here real quick, but my wife likes watching like The Bachelor and Bachelorette. Okay. And I'm always like, whenever, they introduce The Bachelor, it's always some dude like, oh yeah, I'm a pilot, and I'm just like, where's the regular average Joe without a six pack?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Like this girl's obviously hot. Yeah, we know.
If they had a guy with a dad bod in there, he'd win, right?
I mean, the dad bod's in.
No, you know what though? Reality TV would keep him there as long as he could.
For the ratings.
Yeah. Because it's reality TV. There's some of it. I mean, I don't know how you're gonna find love, but whatever. Like on there, but like
Teal Tequila.
You never know.
Yeah, Teal Tequila. Yeah, no, those were like
Flava Flav.
those were for sure scripted. But anyway, like and I'm just like, that you guys remember when that girl or the host got canceled because she went to like a Juneteenth party or some sort of old school like southern party that they like dressed up like in like during like slavery and all that stuff. She kind of got canceled
for
that.
blackface. Was it for blackface or
something
just
it was something in that realm, right?
It was as bad as Tom Green. Remember the Tom Green show?
Yeah,
he went to that bar mitzvah dressed as Hitler. That is okay, dude. That is insane.
I mean, but here's the thing though, it was on MTV, not ABC.
I know, right?
Right? Yeah. So like, yeah, it is. So like, okay, she got canceled. The original host, he also got canceled because he was kind of like, I think he kind of backed her up a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I can see how that's offensive. I can see that, but why can't we also cancel the fact that all these dudes are hunks?
Right.
Right. Everybody has a six pack. All these girls that are on The Bachelor, they're all these hot, skinny black. I mean, blonde girls. Well, there's also not. You know what? Sorry, there's also not enough black representation there. I can go there too, but but still, they're all like these, and their jobs are always like something that appealing. There's no custodian there. There isn't.
Right.
There isn't a dude. There isn't a
single father. without a job, stay-at-home dad, or
Stay-at-home
used to be
dad.
a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, I mean, but still, like they're all basically the same, and it's like, well, if you're gonna start canceling that, then why didn't cancel and say we need some more average-looking people? Because a lot of the people are watching these, and they're, you know, it's almost like fantasy, and it's like that's what you want to be. You know, you watch these, and a lot of people are like, oh, I wish I could do that.
You remind me of Fight Club. You know, Chuck Palahniuk, he talks about, there's this scene where you know, the underwear models on the train or bus or what have you, and Edward Norton's like, it's funny how like society tells us how a man should look, you know, and by displaying this like type of propaganda, and you know, that's how The Bachelor is too, and it would be, why can't they put like, it doesn't, I don't know, they're kind of making it say that if you don't look this way or you make this type of money or whatever, then you're not like an ideal bachelor. Yeah. So I think it would be interesting to do something like that.
It would be, and they're just gonna be like, oh, that's why we do Joe Millionaire.
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean, but still, they still find somebody who's attractive. You know, and it's like, you know, obviously ratings. They're gonna want people to. It's
doesn't it come to like our fault too? Like we're watching these things
and
we're actually adding to that.
That's the funny thing about it. Yeah, you keep adding to. The more you consume, you can bitch about Facebook, but if you're still on it, then you're still
you're still the consumer. Complain about Facebook while they're on Facebook.
Yeah,
let's not get started on Tiger King. I'm just like, you know, the show is funny. Don't get me wrong, entertaining, but I was just like, really like one of the best, highest grossing Netflix shows.
You know why though? Because it was during the pandemic. Nobody had anything else to watch.
That is the damn truth.
Everything blew up.
Second season came out. I stopped watching. There's no point.
Right.
I didn't need to watch it anymore.
Anything dumb and irrelevant started, you know, popping up. A lot of convenient things started popping up. I mean, you probably had to get a little bit innovative with your work, right? As far as like wine tasting and stuff like that, like do private. I think you did something private at some point.
It seems like the worse things are going, current events wise, the more people want to drink.
Yeah.
So
it's funny how that works. Huh?
Yeah, there's no.
Grubhub was delivering alcohol at one point or something like that.
It was crazy, man. It was quite a free for all, and if you took advantage, you made out well, and we certainly did. I was still making wine. I still am making wine for Pepper, sort of. But you know, we're getting through our inventory right now. But at the time, we came out with a promo like the day of. Like I remember we got shut down. Everyone will remember that day.
Oh yeah.
Oh, such like a scene out of like a zombie movie where everyone's like, "Where'd everyone go?
Yeah, what do we do?
Yeah.
What do we say?"
Everything was empty, and you're like,
I was in Wine Boss, and there was literally no one in town because there was that mandate had happened, and such a creepy and kind of cool feeling at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in there, and I was just like, "All right, man, this is it. It's time to rock and roll." And we came up with, you know, discount code, and we came out with some good content, and we hit the socials hard, and we did insanely good. It was awesome. We did so many orders. I think throughout the pandemic we did, maybe like 600 or 700 orders.
Damn.
Yeah,
Nice.
It was great. That when I say pandemic, I'm talking from when society basically shut down to
early 2020.
About now,
early 2020.
So, you know, maybe not as much as some people, but we definitely made out well, you know. So, but that was fun. You know, it was interesting. What an interesting time. It really was.
So I know. I don't know if you said it before you started recording, but you said you're not a beer bar anymore.
No, so we actually became a tasting room this last July 1st. We did one last Metal and Merlot. Did you ever come to one of those?
No. Oh yes. I did one. I did one.
Yeah. So one last headbang on the bar.
Yeah.
And it was a hoot, like it always is. And it was slightly emotional because, you know, it's funny for me to say, to get emotional over beer and whatever the hell else I can serve. But it was more about closing a chapter. We had just a ridiculous amount of fun. I know you've been there for some of the parties. And, it was fun to just be that kind of like dive bar in Paso where everyone knows your name.
Yeah.
And kind of just keep going and being creative and developing a niche where it just kept bringing people in. And then all of a sudden, I think the more deep pocket Paso got. I mean, we had places opening up that there's no way I was going to compete with,
right?
Especially selling beer and other people's, retailing other people's product. And as you guys know, I was making my own wine too at the same time. So I was like, all right, why don't we just transition into only selling what I make? Yeah. And so I decided to become a tasting room. I had a winery license already. So you got your master license. I took a master's license and got what's called like a duplicate. with a duplicate, you can have your own. That's how a lot of these. That's how I like how a lot of these wineries actually have tasting rooms. They'll have their facility on the outskirts,
Yeah.
or they'll be a tenant of a winery like I am, Cali Paso, and then in order to have a tasting room elsewhere, they have to get a duplicate of their master license. So that's what I did. I'm sitting on the wine bar license. It doesn't technically expire till this July. I had this like funny idea of, oh, maybe I could sell the lease with the wine bar and make some good loot, and I probably would. But I'm getting super attached to my place, and just seeing all the growth around me. I think it'd be so silly to leave now.
Right.
Because maybe I make loot, maybe I don't. If I did, who's to say I can't make that money, in the next year or two, just hanging in there and put some money in the place. And it's been great. February, we knocked it out of the park. March, this first weekend of March, we had a great weekend as well. So
I saw those Instagram posts. There was a lot of people at on the weekend, at least.
Yeah, we had like a Latina dig over at one point. It was crazy.
I got a little accent in there. It was crazy.
It was crazy.
No, for real, fool. No, it's funny because it was a great time, and they were just like telling me to put on songs that I was like, I can't even pronounce that, much less spell it. Much less spell it.
Yeah.
So
Here, you type it in.
Take my iPad, and so that we had a great time. And
one of the things I like about your now going to be tasting room, it's the people that come in there. You don't know exactly who's coming in until you talk to them, and that's what I like about your setup is people start talking to each other, right?
Right.
There's a guy, amazing artist, Matthew Grant. I'm sure you've.
Yeah. I make his wine.
I walked. Yeah. The tasty sounds.
Tasty sounds. Yeah.
I walked in one day just out of work. I think Max was there. He was working the counter. And I heard music in the background. I'm like, this is good. This is a good song. And then Matthew turns around and goes, "This is me." He's like, "That's you?" Yeah, everything, harmony, all that stuff. You know how he talks about it.
Yep.
And I'm like, "Dude, this is really good." Like, and I kind of offended him. He's like, "You sound like John Legend." He's like, "Oh man," it's like, but he literally sounds really good. Like, I know there's people like American Idol that go up. Oh, that sounds Carrie Underwood. She sounds all right.
Yeah.
Some haters out there anyway. But like he's really really good. And since then I'm like, hey, if you need any help, let me know. Like I would want to like put you in front of the screen at some point and perform. I don't know something at some point. Once we have beer and wine, I'll be like really reaching out to people.
Yeah.
But like I have one of those like mindsets. Like if I help him now, when he does become famous, that's how sure I am.
Yeah.
When he does become famous, I'll be like, I know that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, Matthew's great, and that's how that happened. That same time that he came in the bar and shooting the shit with you and Max.
Yeah.
Max planted like the seed about wanting, hey, we private label for a couple of bands, and that's what Tom, the owner, does. And so they reached out to me, and we made it work. And I think that's the beautiful thing about Wine Boss is the relationships that it started. And and that brings up another huge reason why I should not give up the place, because I love the people I meet and what it unfolds. I mean, so Matthew started this wine, and now he's doing these like sick pop-up gigs, and he's featuring the wine, he's playing music and doing dinner pairings and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, maybe he would have done it. Maybe he would not have if unless he had his own wine. So I love how that kind of that ensued, and then
the networking has been good. And
it's cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see this. You take a step back and you're like, holy shit, these people met at Wine Boss. And another great example is we actually had a guy and a girl meet at Wine Boss, and now they're married.
Yeah.
And if my bar wasn't around, they would never have met each other and fallen in love and done the thing. So it's kind of like, really, I don't know. I got to keep in mind not just the
bigger picture.
There's more than just you're making more than just currency. Sometimes you're providing currency, and that's what more than relationships. Good relationships.
Yeah. No, that was one of those crazy things, and I think this is back in like 2018 when I met him, and I was just like, It's crazy. I don't know. It's just every time I think about like moments like that, it's like it's usually like at a spot like yours or something small, and then it grows into something bigger. And I'm like, I saw it, like I felt it that was gonna happen, And I was listening to the podcast with Modern Cowboy, when it popped up, and I listened through the whole thing. And I know you brought up was it the big tuna or the big fish or something like with Kevin Hart, and I'm like, I remember when you posted that picture, and I'm like, I knew this guy was gonna do something big with somebody at some point.
Well, that was funny. I still haven't completely made that story public yet. I mean, people know I'm working with him.
Yeah.
Obviously I posted that picture a little while ago and kind of been consistent. People saw the barrel pictures the other day.
Yeah.
But I never really told them the whole story. I figured, I'll throw this teaser out on this podcast.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And if people that care about me, care what I'm doing, not to put it that harshly, but that are going to go out of the way to find out, see this podcast, see what I'm doing, then they're going to hear the big news. And I haven't quite unraveled it all yet because I'm just trying my darndest to meet with the guy and get. I mean, he's put quite a bit of money and on the table for this project, and you're working with someone insanely rich when you're looking at six figures and you're pulling teeth to get a meeting with the guy. Like, hey, so what do you want to do with this wine now?
He's got a lot of things going on too.
He does.
The guy's a vampire.
Does he have a tequila that just came out?
He's deciding what tequila. Apparently, what I've gathered from his post is that he's, I guess, deciding on the flavor or what have you. Yeah. But yeah, I know he flies out to Jalisco like every other month to kind of dial that in. It's like, okay, can you take a helicopter or something?
You're flying out to Jalisco. I mean, you can just
get in your damn private
jet. California.
Come to Paso, please. Especially working at Kelly Paso Winery now, which is such a beautiful place. Taking nothing away from everything I did at Lusa della Terra, but it's just a gorgeous Italian villa winery.
Yeah, I took a tour. We were thinking about having the wedding there at one point.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, it was nice. It was so nice. A little out of my price range, but so nice.
I mean, if I showed supposedly I'm meeting with the guy this week. I don't know when this episode's going to drop, but we'll see. I built such a great rapport with his family and his wife Aniko. She actually just commented on the post the other day, so they know I'm here. They know I'm doing it. They like me, and they like what I'm doing. The vineyard, put in that vineyard was a son of a bitch.
The vineyard is what I wanted to highlight more of because you said your dad left it, or some sort of client, or somehow your dad was very much involved.
To reiterate that story, and whoever's listening, thank you for tuning in. But so Dad and I planted vineyards, 17, 18 years ago, 19 years ago, whatever it was. And because he was training horses in a gated community, and these homes were on large plots of property. And you can only, not everyone wanted tennis courts or horses or llamas or whatever else rich people do with their plots of land.
Llamas.
I swear to God, there were llamas.
I believe it.
Yeah, they spit. Stay back. It's not just camels. So he's like, you know what? Let's put vines on. And some of these people had hillsides.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, we'll X amount of dollars. We'll plant a vineyard for you, because he had like an agriculture book background. Of course, I was younger, and he needed like a guy to do labor, and I thought it was a good gig for me throughout high school. So that's what I did: planting the vines and pounding the posts and digging the holes. It was a good workout too. And I got into Cal Poly for viticulture because that's what just made sense since I was doing this vineyard stuff. And then Dad ended up passing away unexpectedly my first quarter there, and Mom, being the stout, just Southside Chicago badass she was, super educated, was like, I know you could do both. Reach out to these accounts of your dad's, and since Cal Poly was learn by doing motto anyway, let's see where this goes. And one of the places was this property in Calabasas, and I just couldn't hang on to it. It was too big for me. I couldn't juggle it and get my degree at the same time. So I said, hell, sorry, Gary, the owner at the time, I got to focus on school. So, fast forward, I did production, all this stuff, graduated, blah, blah, blah. I did the vineyard business again, which is how I got the capital to open Wine Boss, the winery and bar. But I was getting fed up with the vineyards, and basically, I got a call, and I recognized the address, and I was like, oh shit, okay, I'm going to go here and see if it's the same place. And it was this fellow, Gary's property, who I told you I had to leave, in Calabasas. And they're like, yeah, can you replace this vineyard? I was like, hell yeah, I'll replace this vineyard because sentimental value. I planted this with Dad, 17 years ago. And so this would be nice to kind of like bring it back to fruition. And I needed the money.
Yeah.
So I get this vineyard in, and they won't tell me who owns the property now. I'm like, all right, whatever. And I come to find out just through kind of the landscapers.
Yeah.
Hey, so Kevin wants this done. I was like, and then I saw a Hart jersey in the garage. I was like, oh my God, it's Kevin Hart's property.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And so, yeah, it was like, holy cow. Like, here I am, 17, 18 years later, and I was hired to replant a vineyard that I'd done with my father. And it's almost like he divinely gifted me the account of my life, Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Let's face fact. I'm not trying to,
Name drop.
I'm not bending the knee or anything like
yeah.
that. He's, although I'd probably be the same height if I did that as him.
Yeah. I've heard the stories.
He is a.
I'm short too, guys. All right. So.
He's like 5'4", so yeah, maybe if I took a knee, it would be right about eye level.
Yeah.
In any case, he. What was I gonna tell you? Where was I, guys?
You found out it was Kevin Hart.
I found it was Kevin Hart.
Yeah, so I just
divine.
So I just took advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
It was just okay. I'm not letting this go. I decided to work my ass off to get in touch with him and make sure the vineyard came out wonderful, and it did. The soil had been fallowing for all those years that these vines were just growing like Godzilla vines, and basically. I got him out there to see the vineyard, and he was so impressed, and there were so many grapes on the vineyard. He's like, what are we going to do with these, Tom? I said, well, I happen to have a winery,
Whatever, yeah.
I have the tools.
I have this gig
Process,
up there,
yeah.
and he's like, all right, well, how much is it going to cost? And he was like, that's it. And I'm like, fuck,
I'm just trying to imagine that like conversation, him talking to you, like, because I always think of like Kevin Hart. Obviously, when I see him talking, I'm always thinking of like his movies and stuff, and he's always so like.
Right.
Like, like hi, I'd be like, what are we gonna do this, Tom?
No, to be honest, even though him and I had a bunch of meetings, and one thing I could thank COVID for is that because he was always at home, so it was much easier.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And COVID helped me spend more time at the vineyard because I couldn't have a wine bar to manage at the time. So, all these things, it's just funny how life works, right? And then, but that day I took him out to the vineyard because one of his family members was like, I got to show her how badass it was doing. And she's like, Kevin, you got to go see this vineyard. Like, it's badass. And he's like, super reluctant. He's like, all right, Tom, can you be here Saturday, 8 a.m.? He doesn't sound like that, but you know what I mean. Yeah. And so, of course, I get there Saturday, 8 a.m., like, anything for Kev. And we go out there, and, like, he comes out, and he's, like, on his phone. And he's just, like, almost like, oh,
didn't want to be here.
I don't have time for this.
He's busy,
I was like, so I'm, like, trying to make small talk, no pun intended. And
just get it out while you can.
Yeah, he's not going to listen to this. And I could just tell he's walking faster than me.
Yeah.
And I'm 6'2", almost 6'3", and he's booking it. I'm like, all right, fuck it. So we finally get to the pearly gates of his vineyard, and he's like, I'm kind of stoked on the gates. And we go through the gates, and he's on his phone, and he looks up, and his jaw drops, and he puts his phone away, and he's like, oh my God, this is. I own a vineyard. Like, I own wine. Like, I'm going to have wine.
Yeah.
So it totally blew his mind. So I don't know, obviously he's not the first celebrity I've worked for, but you just have to bring these things to their attention somehow, some way, even though it's talk about something that tests your patience, guys. But I know that, that was the one thing that sealed the deal for me to make his wine was seeing that vineyard, even though it wasn't the prettiest thing to do. Yeah, getting them out there. It's after that he was like Instagramming the shit of it. My hand was in his Instagram story. It was really cool. I was like, that's my hand.
That's my hand.
Are you like that to show the world me, dude?
Like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's pointing at the.
But
Yeah.
it was so cool that he let me. I was like, "Hey, Kev, can we do some content before we take off?" He's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, for sure."
So he was all in out there.
Oh yeah, he was like totally cool about it. And I was like, "Yeah, can I get this for the social?" He's like, "Yeah, hell yeah, man, let's do this." And he's like, "Oh, what's my motive right now?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck, I'm filming a scene with Kevin Hart right now."
You have to be in care. I don't know. I'm not a director.
Oh, it was so cool. It was so cool. So I just whipped out my phone. I said, "Hey, hey Kevin, you happy?" He's like, "God damn right, I'm happy." You guys can see it.
We're
on
making
my,
wine.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Check it out on my socials, wineboss _ Pastor Robles. But yeah, I'm dropping a lot of content with him and his wine this week, and hopefully have a meeting with him soon.
That's cool, dude.
That's
Yeah, it's
awesome,
time to do
man.
something. Time to
That's-
bottle, man.
And I mean, it clearly shows how much work you put into it. And I mean, just like hearing you talk about it and all that stuff, like I can tell, like, well, first off, it's, you know, whenever I hear of somebody who has talked, like, who's worked with celebs and stuff, you know, usually you always, at least for me, I'm always thinking like, oh man, this guy, like, obviously, like, he wouldn't have time of day for like other people and stuff. But obviously that's more me, like, judging people immediately. It is still cool watching you, like, tell that story and watching your expression. You're reliving it, and you can just like just how humble you are, like, and how it comes out. And it's like, this guy, you know, you did it. It was your job. You were doing it. It's not because, you know, if you were known in the beginning that was Kevin Hart's, I think you were still done what you did either way, even if it wasn't. So like, it's really nice seeing somebody like so humble, and just something just kind of came down from the heavens, like you explained. It's awesome, man. And I you know, I really like, you know, being able to communicate with somebody like that, and you just see that they're just like, oh man, I don't even know how else to explain it. You know, like, I don't know if you
Thanks,
guys,
Walter.
yeah, I don't know if you guys,
appreciate that, man.
yeah, no, and
Make me
it's
smile, dude.
Yeah,
no, it's awesome, and that's like, those are the people that I love meeting. You know what I mean? And this is our first interaction, and it just makes me happy when I get to, you know, shake somebody's hand who's just like that, who just finds something to love life, no matter where it takes them, you know. And these are the conversations that I like. I live for. I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
It's freaking awesome, man. And I mean, I love to see what you're doing. I love to see that everything's like going great for you.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys so much. I mean, this is only the second or third platform I've been on yet to tell this story.
Right.
You know, and so you're giving me a lot of practice here.
Hey, man, whenever we're always open to anybody.
Yeah, no, it's great, guys. When you do stuff like this, it provides an opportunity for so much, and you know, I plan on blowing this thing up at some point. I think a full wouldn't, and I appreciate this platform to, you know, get my story out. I hope people will come and listen. It's great practice for me. Obviously I got to clean up my story, but I appreciate the feedback and giving me, you know.
I think that's why I got really excited when I saw that picture of the Rode mic and the Scarletts, because you're going to do more interviews, I'm assuming, right?
Well, yeah, you know, and that's why I was happy that you gave me a chance to kind of facilitate discussions, and this is something that I would like to do, you know, at some point, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
You can practice as much as you want with us, man.
Yeah, no, man.
Yeah, no, that
you
was
want
fun.
to join in anytime. We hope with this platform that we're doing, we really hope that we can just kind of.
Yeah, in the past when I've done other podcasts, the one thing, and I think I like having a podcast with Walter now, because we just gel really well, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean,
You do.
But
you do.
but one thing, every time I had a guest, they were like, "Dude, that was good talking about all that stuff."
Right.
It was like they felt so much better. So hopefully we're helping somebody, at least when they listen to it too. Like,
yeah.
okay, somebody's talking about this.
Yeah, exactly. And like, the thing is that we always try talking about like stuff that dads go through, and that's why we're also not like,
we're not experts.
we're not experts. That's the thing. We're just being like, oh yeah, but you know, we talk about how like conservative our parents were, and how we just, you know, we talk a lot about how like men were supposed to be brought up.
Right.
You know, and honestly, I'm not a manly guy. You know, I don't.
Could have fooled me, man.
I just told you guys I read Twilight. I don't think I consider myself like in the definition of manly. I don't consider myself a manly man.
If you tell me to build something, I mean, if there's no instructions,
We're in the lumberjack shit for no reason.
it was what was in my closet right
Could have
now.
swore you had an axe with you.
You know, it's funny.
It's final season.
The funny
I
thing
almost wore the blue one.
Damn it!
you missed the notice, huh? No,
too
like
funny.
I was like, I haven't worn this to the podcast yet. Okay, I'll put it on because I'm always like, hey, did I already wear that? Because I want to be like, wearing the same thing. Because I don't have a lot of clothes. No one
You're
always
wearing
like,
gym clothes and stuff like that. You're like, I'm gonna work out after this.
But I mean, this is also why we're not like against having women on a dad's podcast because I feel like there's a lot of things that women can bring to the table.
We have some ladies lined up.
Yeah,
too.
can bring
good,
to the table
absolutely.
that can like make men be like, hey, you know what? I never thought about that.
I think that's great.
Yeah, even though my dad and my mom were like together for a long time, like they were very much separate in their bank accounts. They were very much separate in whatever their
Mhm.
interests were and stuff like that, which is weird why they were together to begin with, right?
Right.
You know, I think about that all the time. Like, well, that's so odd. But my mom was very much like working and coming home, making dinner,
Mhm.
and like making sure we're doing things in school and all that stuff. And I'm like, to me, like if somebody identified anything like dad, definite, it's her.
Right.
You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Not to talk down about my dad. My dad was a really cool guy and everything. He showed me how to like do a couple things, but like for the most part, like she was very much like there kind of thing, like making sure I was like. So if anybody ever tells me, it's like I was technically raised by like my mom, my grandma, my aunts. Like there was a very big women community
had a women-
within
yeah.
my life. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, moms are. Let's shout out to moms, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the backbone.
Yeah.
Like obviously, not taking nothing away from the dads here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
no. I mean,
But a
I
great
mean, they
mom-
have the kids, so
Yeah.
that's already a one up. They're the ones that have the kids.
Yeah, they're show offs.
If you have a great mom, you know that your son's going to be a great dad.
Yes.
I think that's a
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
really good equation right there.
Yeah.
You know, so no,
Yeah.
totally. And
Take that clip out right there.
yeah, right.
Seriously.
And I was gonna bring something up before I forgot about it. Was what you guys are doing here is like you're offering free association, and I'm not embarrassed to say live that I've been in therapy since last April or May, and I think it's great. It's fantastic. It's obviously the first thing that my therapist asked me was like, "What do you want out of this?" And I was like, I knew enough lingo to say, kind of describe what I wanted out of therapy, and that was free association.
Right.
It's because, and sometimes I get a little hot and bothered if, like, I'm not getting the feedback I want, or I'm not, but sometimes all you need to do is talk to someone unbiased, and you guys are providing kind of that same sort of comfort too. So I think this is great, and I encourage anyone to be a guest on your show.
I really appreciate that, man. That really,
Yeah.
Totally.
That's the
Yeah.
feedback that we've always like I said, I hope, me and Miguel talked about this in the beginning. If this were to blow up into something, great.
Yeah.
If
But
not,
if not, we hope it helps somebody.
it helps us.
You help-
It helps, yeah, it helps
It
us.
helps
I mean,
us for sure.
Yeah,
we
you help
haven't
me.
quit our day jobs
Yeah.
for this, right? So like,
My day and a half job. I'm on salary.
see, there you go.
Well, look, it's the same as the wine bar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't there, then would these people make these connections, or would they like come to terms with something about themselves?
Yeah.
Whatever. There's a laundry list of things that could happen just by providing, being present and providing the opportunity. I don't know. It's a beautiful thing, man. What else are you gonna get out of life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all we're here. I mean,
Well, here's a good question that I wanted to ask is, I mean, you're working hard to do all this stuff, and I mean, I'm working. We have kids, and eventually, hopefully, you'll have a kid of your own. If
Yeah.
not,
I
you
would love it. Yeah.
most likely adopt one for sure.
No, I'm making one, dude.
Yeah.
Let's get this straight, Miguel.
As many times as it takes.
And I'm wearing my pin pad.
Make it say wine
Imagery-
boss on it
some
though,
imagery
please.
for
Like,
you
it
guys.
has to have a wine boss on it too.
Cover him with the wine boss
What?
blanket as soon as he's born. He or she is born.
Just the bottle is like a
The bottle's right next to
it's like a wine bottle.
Guys,
bottle.
just now released.
Just flexing in there.
Yeah. All this is building towards something. And what's something you want to leave behind for them?
Leave. So I lost track. So
Yeah.
leave who-
So we're working hard to create some sort of success for ourselves and for others and stuff like that. But what's something like you would at least want to? I'm not going to leave anything like monetary for my kids, to be honest. But I want to leave something.
kids-wise.
I want to leave something behind
Sorry.
for my kids. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Pulling a blonde moment here.
I was talking really fast because I wanted to
Shake
get
Blondie.
that question.
That is a terribly difficult question to answer because I think there are so many things bigger than us happening right now.
Yeah.
That I hate to say it, but I keep thinking of that Iron Man speech where he talks about legacy.
Right.
Yeah.
So, of course, on a small scale, a personal scale, I'd want to leave them with something. If anything. So my dad, he didn't leave me with any money or nothing like that. My mom, I'm not embarrassed to say that my mom was the breadwinner, but and it sucks that once my dad was finally getting on his feet and had this killer vineyard business and what have you, that he was finally doing well for himself, that he kicked the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
But he did leave me behind this incredible opportunity, like this intangible, test my abilities and my grit and everything else to take on a business and pursue a degree at the same time. And had I not done that and not, taken advantage of that, let's just call his legacy, then I wouldn't be making wine for, one of the biggest celebrities in the world right now.
Right.
So that I would like to provide my kids with something like that, not just money, anything like that, but just a will to be successful, I guess. But also, I don't know, guys. I want to figure out what to do, have more of an impact on the world, And there's a quote that they'll teach you, and if you take cultural geography or what have you, it's like act locally, think globally. So it does start with in your house.
It does.
It does. Whether it's we were talking about. Topics like that might bother people. Maybe be more open about that. How can we take better care of the world? Like recycle in front of your kids. Like there's so many things you could do, I think, to be a good influence on your children. Because let's face it, we're not giving them the best planet Earth right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think there's something to be said about that.
That's funny. On my when I went to get some energy drinks this morning, I was you're welcome for the bangs. I was that's literally what I was thinking on my
big boy.
I got you 2 flavors too. We can keep going. This is but I think it's one of those things again. It's clicking in my head again. It's like it's funny how you just said that because on my way back, I was thinking about in order for us to. I don't know why I'm thinking about this. It's like singing the national anthem while you're showering. It's like you don't know why you're singing it, but it's a banger,
Oh yeah, just happens.
But I was thinking about this. I was saying, it was weird. On my drive back, I was like, in order to fix like other people's problems, masks and stuff like that, whatever, in order to address that appropriately, I think you need to focus on your household first. See where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So it's
small.
crazy that you said that again. Like just little things here and there that just like fuck this. It feels right.
Right. Take nothing for granted, man.
Don't take anything for granted, and we'll leave it at that. Thank you, Tom. Dude.
Thank you so much. This is
This
awesome.
means a lot to me.
This is
We've been
Walter.
trying to do this for a while.
Yeah, it's so good to see you, man.
Yeah.
It's been too long, and to meet you, Walter. So,
Likewise, man. This is awesome.
You want to press the button?
You want to do the honors here?
Pressing the
Is that the
end of the podcast?
This is our.
We're trying to make fetch a thing, okay?
It's like basically we do this and then we say our last comments, and just go ahead.
Well, thanks again, guys, and I bid you adieu.
Yeah. And that's the time we have.
See you guys later.
We hope. Remember, follow Tom over here.
Yeah, Tom. Oh, what's the Instagram again?
Yeah.
WineBoss _ Paso Robles.
There you go. And
Sweet.
us, 2dadsinapod @gmail.com. That's.
We got Twitter going too.
We also got Twitter going. And if you have any other closing things you want to say before we are done,
just thanks for having me. And
any shout outs or anything you want to give out? Now's the time.
I lost a friend, Brittany Hunt. We had her funeral yesterday. Just a beautiful soul. I just want to give a shout out to her and her family, and to Travis, her husband, now widower. Right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And shout out to everyone that supported Wine Boss, and to my girlfriend Danielle. Love you. Shout out to my mom. Sister, everybody, love you guys, and hope you enjoy this. It was a fun one.
This has been great, man. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, man.
Of course.